From the FOX10 Gulf Stream, this is Next Weather.
Thanks for joining us here on Fox 10. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith, and here's what we're seeing in our forecast. It's pretty quiet, but that'll change a little, so let's break it down. Tonight, mostly clear skies. Tomorrow, some heat, maybe an isolated shower tomorrow, and maybe a little bit better shot on Thursday. So a few showers around from time to time, starting to pop back into the forecast after a dry day today and mainly a dry day yesterday. Rip current risk is also starting to change, going from a medium risk to a lower risk, which is good, but we still could see occasionally the surf getting a little bit up a little bit with the south breeze in the afternoon. Taking a look at our temperatures today at 93, still above average. Average high is 89, so 4 degrees above normal today, 5 degrees above normal yesterday. We can't shake the warmer than average pattern. We will get a couple of little pop-up showers around the area, it appears, tomorrow. That is showing up in the future cast. They are going to be isolated, but a couple of communities may get lucky enough for a brief shower. And same thing Thursday, although maybe a little better shot at some rain, especially coastal areas on Thursday afternoon and evening. So we're not completely out of it on the rain, but we do see some spotty showers. In the Atlantic, we've got a new tropical storm. This is Tropical Storm Lee, and the track brings it as a major hurricane north of the northern Leeward Islands, and it should pass up along the east coast of the United States. We think it will not enter the Gulf of Mexico based on the current forecast, but it could be a monster out over the open waters of the Atlantic. And you can see some of the models bring it a little closer to the Bahamas, but a lot of them start to make that turn in the long range. Here's a look at what the GFS model is doing with Lee. And behind it, we'll likely have a developing Franklin here too sometime by the end of the week. And both systems will take that northerly turn, and so looks like this one will be Margot a little sooner. And then here's Lee as of Sunday, and you can see it's not getting into the Gulf. By Tuesday, it's really gaining latitude based on the current model predictions. Will it have some impact on the east coast of the United States? We'll definitely be watching out for that. Maybe more likely up towards New England or the Canadian Maritimes. Here's a look at your 24-hour temperatures, and 70s tonight, 90s tomorrow. We do it again, and the only relief we really see is that our air will be a little drier on Saturday, but we're getting some spotty showers. We've got some heat, and the heat index will actually ramp up some Thursday and Friday and get into the low 100s with that. So it was a pretty day here today across the Gulf Coast. We're getting some drier air coming in, but some rainy days would be really good for us, and some areas have seen it, other areas have not. Let's look for long-range rain chances with meteorologist Michael White.
Jason, we need rain. There's no other way to say it. We need it. We were hoping we would have seen more widespread rain over the Labor Day weekend because, as you pointed out, it's going to be harder and harder to find it with a new heat dome building in. That means temperatures above average now that we're unofficially in fall since we're after the Labor Day holiday. And as far as additional rain for this week, it just doesn't look like the totals are going to be very impressive at all. In fact, I pulled up the latest QPF, and this takes us through next Monday evening. And you can see the projections of rain are not good for the Gulf Coast. In fact, as we zoom in a little tighter, you'll see that the rainfall totals will only be about 1/10 of an inch to 3/10 of an inch. So maybe 1/4 of an inch of rain for our Mississippi counties at best. And that's the total between now and next Monday. That is a 7-day total for rainfall. And that is not good because our rainfall deficits as of today are already about 5.5 inches below average. So drought conditions are only going to get worse. And if you're curious about why we don't have any red flag warnings issued, which presents a fire danger, well, it's because the air is still very humid. There's a lot of moisture in the air, and it helps out with that. But we know the fall air, which we're craving, is going to get here eventually. Even if it doesn't get here till October, it is going to get here. The dew points will drop, moisture levels will drop, and the air will go dry, which will feel great to our skin. We can't wait to step outside in it. But if we don't get the rain deficits under control, When that dry air takes over, we will likely have those red flag warnings issued here, which will present a big fire danger to parts of the Gulf Coast. And as we glimpse ahead into the future, the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, unfortunately, it still has the southeastern United States with above average temperatures, as the highs are still going to be mostly in the mid to low 90s through the middle of September, because this graphic does take you this is for the week of September the 12th through September the 18th. So for a huge chunk of the rest of this month, we're going to be dealing with temperatures well above average. We would love to see days where the highs drop back to the mid 80s, mornings are back in at least the 50s. And sometimes we get an early push of fall air, but there's none of that out there. Now, we all know one thing that would help with a drought would be a tropical system. You'd rather see one early in the season than now. You don't want to see one now, because this is the most dangerous part of the hurricane season. This is when you can get some of the biggest, most powerful hurricanes. We don't want any of that. We would like just a nice little push of rain to come through, because we're still in the danger zone of tropical season through at least mid-October. It began on August 1st and it ends October 15th. After October 15th, the risk of tropical weather starts to die down. But we're still in early September, so we still have about 5.5 weeks to go in that danger zone. So we still have to watch the tropics closely. But we do need rain, and we do need some help with those rain deficits, and we're also longing for fall air. We need a lot of stuff, and that's just one of the many things we're all going to be talking about here on Next Weather throughout the course of this week. And I will have more updates on Good Day Gulf Coast bright and early tomorrow on the latest projections for weekend weather and beyond, and I hope to see you then. Jason?
Well, unfortunately, we expect temperatures to heat back up later this week, and we're not expecting triple-digit heat, but we're definitely looking at some toasty temperatures. And meteorologist Matt Barentine explains August was terrible, and it was an all-time record breaker.
This August is going to go down in the history books as not only the hottest August ever here, but the hottest month ever on the Gulf Coast. We've been keeping records since about the 1870s. Never seen anything like this. In fact, we tied or broke 12 records this past month, and we had 11 days 100 degrees plus, and we hit 106 on the 26th. That is the all-time hottest temperature ever recorded in Mobile. So a lot of records broken, and the August average was 98.6 degrees for the average high. The average high should be about 91 degrees, so it is way above average, nearly 8 degrees. And the whole month, we never once actually got an average day. 93 was the coolest day we had right there on the 16th. That was for Mobile. Now, Pensacola, things were a little bit better here, but you still average 97 degrees for a high when typically it's 91. But here, only 4 days that hit 100 degrees or plus, and of course on the 26th you did hit 105, but that was 1 degree shy of the all-time record in Pensacola. Lots of records tied and broken there as well. So this, like I said, this past August is going to go down in the history books as the hottest month ever recorded here on the Gulf Coast.
Yes, and hopefully that's the benchmark that we don't see set again with a higher number. Here's a look at our 7-day forecast, and yeah, September starting out pretty terrible with the temperatures. We are getting back up into the 96-degree range on Thursday and Friday, and that's going to be about 7 degrees above normal both days. And the weekend, a little drier air in here. I know it doesn't reflect much in the temperatures, but you can see the overnight lows getting down around 70, and that's the beginning of the signs of some changes as we head towards the late summer pattern and start to get some cooler nights in there. We see that as the early part of next week gets going. Thanks for joining us here on Next Weather.